Hello and welcome again to TravelOz. I'm Greg Granger. This week we travel to idyllic Lord Howe Island, deep in the Pacific, 2 hours flight east of here in Sydney. It's been described as the jewel in the South Pacific. Its vivid aqua coral lagoon overshadowed by the remains of 2 ethereal volcanic peaks. We'll climb these peaks to find an abundance of unusual birds, ones that fly backwards in courtship, others that land on your head. The 2 Tims take us to Perth to discover a mint full of gold bullion and an island overrun by these rare marsupials known as quokkas. And on Kangaroo Island, koalas in such abundance that rangers are relocating many to the mainland to save the eucalyptus forests. Lord Howe Island has been described as the jewel in the South Pacific, and any wonder with dominant volcanic peaks like these, Mount Lydgeberg and Mount Gower. We'll climb one of those mountains very shortly in search of some very special birds. But geologists have warned this all will disappear. Within 200,000 years, they say, it'll sink below the waves. What you're looking at are the peaks of a large underground mountain, fringed by a coral reef, the southernmost in the world, and covered in lush vegetation. Here grow 50 plant species that can be found nowhere else on Earth. And star of the plants, the Kentia palm. Their seeds are harvested by the likes of Jack Schick, one of the island's permanent population of only 300 people.
Okay, that looks like a pretty good bounty for the first pick of the day.
That's a nice little start, Greg.
Trade in the Kentia palms and their seeds has sustained the island economy for well over a century, catering to the fashion of wealthy Europeans who wanted to display exotic plants from distant shores. Of all Lord Howe's qualities, the standout stars are its birds. 5 species of birds here can be found nowhere else on the planet. Lord Howe is the southernmost breeding ground for the masked boobies, while the wedge-tailed shearwaters give a piercing cry at night as they reunite with their chicks. One sanctuary that has assured the survival of several species is the top of Mount Gower. Its cliffs so steep that predators like wild goats and pigs couldn't climb to the top. Today, we're making that same steep climb with local environmentalist Ian Hutton.
Well, Ian, this volcanic remnant that is Mount Gower rises vertically, eh? So there'll be a lot of steep climbing like this all day, eh?
The only way to get 875 metres altitude is some steep climbing, that's right.
And any time in between, we're going to try and find some Lord Howe Island woodhen.
That's
and
right.
some Providence petrels, eh?
And Ian, these magnificent birds are the red-tailed tropic birds?
Yeah, red-tailed tropic birds. They're breeding around Lord Howe Island during the summer months, and they do this fantastic aerial courtship display where they seem to fly backwards in somersaults over each other.
How on earth are they managing that, to fly backwards like that?
Yeah, well, it's just their flight pattern, I guess, and it's the way that they've evolved over the years, you know. Probably Lord Howe Island has the biggest breeding concentration in the world of this bird. People do travel from all over the world to come and see them.
Well, that's a real entree to even greater bird sightings further up. All right, now you reckon we can bring in the Providence petrels here?
Yeah, they're flying around here, and if they've got a territory in this area and we start to make a noise, they'll come down to investigate what's going on.
Ian, you have a very special call to bring in these Providence petrels.
It's a call that I can make loud that perhaps sounds a little bit like the petrels, and that's why they come in to investigate it. So we'll give it a go and see what we can get in.
Well, the sky's beginning to fill with these birds. birds.
That's right, they're coming into the sound of this calling, just coming in to see what's going on. If they got a territory here, they might drop in.
Oh, hey. Now that's interesting. This bird has landed. That is absolutely amazing. A wild bird we've got here, Ian.
That's right, they take off from the trees, so you're a big, tall forest. They have to actually climb up a tree using the feet and the bill. There he goes, not at all fazed by that experience, just gliding off there.
Wow. What have we got here? What's this? Look at this, come right down on the...
So one's come down.
Right down on the ground behind us. Tame as, attracted by the noise, and no matter how much noise you make, you get more and more birds.
That's right, they come down and investigate any noise in their territory, and they think it's another petrel. And this one would be a teenager, maybe 3 or 4 years old, thinking of breeding maybe next year, so it's been flying around, courtship chasing with other teenagers.
Well, we've not only got this bird here, we've got one just over behind you here, and there are very interesting duels when two birds meet, eh?
That's right. They're very protective of their burrow, and if another petrel comes in to that area, they'll wrestle with it and drive it away. Here
Okay, now two coming together here. You've got one just in the undergrowth here and another approaching it.
That's right. They're both eyeing each other off. Something might happen here.
And look at this, another bird coming through here.
Yeah, here they are. Look at that. See? Very vigorously.
Quite a loud noise that they emit when they're in this very aggressive phase. Will they fight to the death?
I don't think they'll fight to the death, no. They will scare each other off.
And the fighting's taking place all around us. There's a
It
fight
is.
here, there's a fight over here, two more at each other over here.
Yeah, all the time.
Encouraging that we've got so many of these birds now, having seen them wiped out on Norfolk Island.
That's right, the area here on Lord Howe Island where they're breeding is protected, as good as a national park area, and these birds will have a very secure future.
Now the wood hen almost became extinct here on Lord Howe, and yet has been saved, and quite a population up here on the top of Mount Gower, eh?
Well, we're going through their territory. They do respond to noise, so we might just clap a bit and see if we can get some to come in. If they hear a noise in their territory, they come out to scare off the intruder. Okay, got one over here.
This would be a juvenile.
Yeah, this is a young bird. You can tell by the small size and its shorter bill, much shorter than the adults.
And remarkable story with these birds because the numbers got down to, what, 20 or 30?
That's right, in the 1970s there were just 20 or 30 of these birds left in the world. And that was due to the effects of predatory animals like pigs and cats on the island.
From those 20 or 30, only 35 years or so ago, what numbers are you up to now?
Around 300 wood hens on the island now, and that number has been static for about 15 years. So now instead of just being on the summit, they're all over the island. It's believed that because the birds are territorial, there are only a certain number of territories on the island, and the population of 300 may be the number that is going to be possible.
All right, Ian. Well, the white terns gather up in these trees?
Yeah, the Norfolk Island pines are their favourite breeding tree. They nest on those big limbs, and they don't actually make a nest, they just find a horizontal limb and balance the one egg there. But when the chick hatches, the little chick has got such an appetite that both parents have to go out to get food for it. So the chick will sit here by itself when it's about 10 days old. Both parents go, and throughout the day the parents come with food for the chick. They'll just feed those fish one by one to the chick, then fly out again and get more food.